All right, so as promised, today I'm going to talk to you about building a really strong and solid business foundation. Now, remember, there are 3 steps, in my opinion, to building a really strong business that will help you build wealth and leave a legacy. The first one is having a strong business foundation. The second pillar is about growing and scaling. And then the third one is about planning for your financial future so you can leave the legacy we all dream of. So let's talk about the strong business foundation. Now, I know you've probably already got a business. It's going well. You're busy. Maybe you're still working a full-time job and you're at just the point where you can't quite take on more and you're not sure if you want to quit and jump ship. Do you need to form a business like an LLC or a corporation, or can you stay as a solo? Or maybe you've been a solo for 5 or 6 years. This is your full-time bread and butter, and you just don't see the advantages of making it an LLC or a corporation. Or maybe you're in this third category where you've got a whole bunch of conflicting advice and you just don't know what to believe and where to go and what to do. So let me tell you why you should form a formal business structure for your business entity. Now, what I'm talking about is a limited liability company or a corporation. Those are the 2 options available to us in California that really have some legal protection behind them. So why should you choose one of those 2 over a sole proprietorship? Now, I can already hear the financial people saying, if you don't make $100,000, you don't need it. Well, I'm going to shift your mindset a little bit. Sometimes money is the concern. A lot of times money is the concern about forming a business, but it really doesn't cost you that much to have an LLC or a corporation. And let me get you to switch from that scarcity mindset into abundance. Stop thinking about what it's going to cost you to have an LLC or a corporation and start thinking about all the opportunities that are going to be available for you when you have an LLC or a corporation. What does that look like? What's the difference between sole proprietor and LLC or corporation? Well, one, you have legal protection. There's some separation between you and your business. If you are a sole proprietor and you own a home and you have a client who is upset with you and they decide to sue, and if you don't have the cash on hand to pay that judgment, what do you think they're going to come after? They're going to come after your home and your assets. Why? Because there is no separation between you as the individual and you as the business. An LLC or a corporation creates a separate legal entity that is different, separate and apart from you as the business owner, even if you were the only one in the business, and that protects you in case there's a lawsuit. That's probably the most doomsday reason that I would say that you need an LLC or a corporation, but that's a very real thing, especially if you are in the business where you touch people. Maybe you're a personal trainer, a massage therapist, or acupuncturist. Maybe you are have some kind of a healing practice, right? Even if it's not touch, but something where people, if they don't get the desired outcome, they're going to be coming to look for recourse. So that's one thing you need to do to protect yourself is form an LLC or a corporation. 2, the other thing that you can do is you can start planning for your retirement, and not just planning, but you have more options to be able to contribute to your retirement more than what are available to you as a sole proprietor. Okay. You get the option to hire your kids as employees in an LLC. And you can pay them up to $12,000, and that becomes a tax deductible expense for you as the business owner, and that is non-taxable income for your child who's under the age of 18. That's an opportunity to use your LLC to decide what you are going to do with the money that comes in. You can contribute to your own retirement. Right? There are different options. There's a solo 401k, which is a little bit expensive. I don't have one of those. You can set up a SEP IRA. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. You can set up any kind of retirement account. And as the business owner, you have the opportunity to contribute just like you would expect if you were working for another corporation, right? So don't think about it being just you. Think about your business as a separate entity apart from you. What would you request if you went to go work for Apple or for Clorox or for, Burger King, right? What are the benefits that you would want? And you can implement those own benefits into your business, and it's easier to do it. You have more opportunity if you have an LLC or a corporation. Back to the legal protection, another benefit you get is that when you sign contracts, you sign them in the name of the business. This goes back to liability protection. If for some reason you are unable to fulfill your end of the contract, let's say you get busy, maybe you don't like the client, the paint you needed to do the mural didn't show up, and the client is upset with you and again wants to take you to court for it, that liability, that responsibility is on the business. It's not on you as an individual. If you're a sole proprietor, there's no separation, honey. You don't get to claim, oh, that was me as my business. There's no such thing, right? You have to actually start a separate business to get the benefits of the legal protection that's afforded to separate business entities, all right? Another thing that we're hoping that you don't do, which is why I want to give you all of this support, but if for some reason you have to walk away from the business and you have an LLC or a corporation, all of the debt and the liability, the responsibility that is taken out in the name of the business dies with the business. Okay, it doesn't carry forward with you. So if you're worried about protecting your credit, that means that when you open up accounts, if you're a vendor or you're finding vendors or you're getting services for your business, open them up in the name of the business entity, not in your name as an individual, and that will protect you if for some unfortunate reason you have to close down the business and you can't afford to do it. I know you've all heard of those entrepreneurs that, serial entrepreneurs, oh, they started this thing this day and then closed it down, started the next thing the other day, and you wonder how can they keep doing it? It's because they have different business entities for all of that, right? And so then when one thing doesn't go right, they shut it down. Next day, they start back up doing a completely different thing, and their history, their personal history is not pulled into it, and the business history begins each time they start a new business, okay? I think that's really important, just to be sure, just to give you some extra opportunity for protection. Here's another reason why you should have an LLC or a corporation instead of just a sole proprietorship. Do you know what your exit strategy is when you get ready to leave the business? I talked about retirement, but there's nothing that says that you have to work in your business until the day you die, right? Have you thought about building a business up so you can sell it? If you plan on selling it, you have to have an LLC or a corporation because you can't sell a sole proprietorship, right? You can't do that. You cannot sell an extension of yourself. That's what a sole proprietorship. It is just you acting in this business capacity. But if you want to sell a piece of your LLC, you can do it, or you could sell the whole thing. If you want to sell off pieces of your corporation to raise some money in the form of shares, you can do it because that's what that business structure allows you to do. So think about what is your exit strategy? What do you want it to look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, right? I know some folks who said they're going to build this business up, and then when their kids get through college, that's when they're going to sell it, take the money, retire, and move to some coastal beach town. That is true. That is also my dream. That's what I want to do. Move to some coastal beach town and live my best life, right? All right. Another thing that you can do, I shouldn't say the last thing on my list that you can do is you can take advantage of the IRS revenue code. Now, the IRS revenue code, the tax code, really rewards business owners, especially corporations, and then LLCs secondary to that. So you get more tax write-offs, you get more tax incentives. When you hire employees, you get tax incentives, all of these different things that are written into the Internal Revenue Code because it rewards business owners, not employees. So you could be missing out on a number of tax opportunities that if you just took the time to meet with an attorney and talk to an accountant, you might really see a difference in the amount of revenue that you are able to keep in your own pocket as profit, as opposed to giving it all to the government. Now, I am not in any way opposed to paying taxes. It is necessary. Our country doesn't work on taxes. But when there are opportunities given to us by the tax code to reduce our tax payments or our tax liability, then I think we should take advantage of them. And the reason why we are given those tax incentives is so we can hire people, which is also a really noble cause and a noble thing to be able to do. And if you're one of those people who looks at hiring people or workers and kind of grumbles about it because it's a lot of responsibility, again, I'm going to want to shift your mindset and get you to think about it as what an awesome opportunity to affect somebody else's life and to give them some money for doing some really good work. Okay, so those are all the reasons why you should consider creating an LLC or a corporation instead of being solo. You just have more opportunity, more legal protection, more opportunity to keep your money. You have more control over where the dollar goes when it comes in, if it's coming in through your LLC or a corporation. The second part of forming a really strong business foundation is to determine whether or not you want an LLC or a corporation. There are some differences between the two. An LLC is more like a sole proprietorship. A corporation has many more rules that you have to follow, but it also has a way to raise money through selling of shares. Whereas an LLC, if you want to sell a piece of your company, the person or the company buying into your company has the same kind of ownership level as you do as one of the original owners. Okay. So I have a YouTube episode on the differences between LLCs and corporations. Check it out on my YouTube channel at the Wilkerson Law Office, and just put in there the differences between LLCs and corporations, and you will get to see all of that. Let's see. Is there anything else that I want to leave you with today? Just to think about, like, don't be afraid of these things. A lot of people are afraid of what they don't know, but when you look at the top 10% of the wealthiest people in the United States, they're entrepreneurs and they're business owners. And they're entrepreneurs and business owners that have LLCs and corporations, and probably multiple LLCs and corporations under their name or the family name, or that they are part owners of. These tools are available to us, and don't let somebody with a narrow mindset who hasn't been to where you were trying to go talk you out of building a strong business foundation so that you can build wealth and leave a legacy. You can probably do some of this stuff as a solo, but you will have a much easier time, more protection, and more rapid growth if you look at your business, treat it like a business, take care of it, protect it, and grow it. And that really starts with having a strong legal foundation, an LLC or a corporation. So I will drop in the show notes below that YouTube video that I talked about and give you some more information. Of course, let me know what questions you have and I will be happy to answer them for you. All right, take care. See you next week when we talk about growing and scaling your business as the second part of building a business and leaving a legacy. Ciao.